Hello everyone, welcome to another video from Paradigm Shift. Today we're going to be discussing about something that has been rising for quite a while. But before that, I want to say a few things. First of all, a big shout out to Donny, the fart father, let's call him like that, because he introduced me to the next coin that I'm going to be discussing today. Second of all, big shout out to the base Farcoin community because you guys have been absolute chads. You're one of the craziest community that I've seen in a while, in a good way. Third, I just want to say that this is not a financial advice. Everything that I will be discussing here are my own opinions. Nobody gave me any tokens. This is my own money that I have been buying base Farcoin for some time now. And third, let's just have some fun and see what we have on the charts. Before that, like I said, big shout out to the base Farcoin community. Here is some fart fuel. And let's see what we have, first of all, on Fartcoin. For some time, because maybe I'm also a bit older, I'm not a boomer, but I come from traditional markets and I joined crypto only 5 years ago, but I have been trading for the last 15 years. Last year, I have been seeding, I have been coping, and I couldn't believe that an asset that is called Farcoin can rise so much to the billions, right? We all know the story from 2024 up until 2025 when it was going absolutely berserk. And after that, Farcoin, it had that huge pullback. It happens to all altcoins. If you're in crypto, you know that we can see thousands and thousands of percentages before a big drop comes. And most of the memes drop around 90% on their biggest pullback. However, since then, we've seen that Farcoin has been printing a very clear cup and handle above which it broke on April. We all know that what happened. Then we had the ETH pump, and after that, Farcoin had a very beautiful break above the neckline of the cup and handle. And we had a period of consolidation, around 10 days of consolidation, which is called reaccumulation. And since then, we have been printing only higher highs and higher lows. It's a beautiful structure. This was a very nice bottoming pattern after a 90% drop and after a 90% retrace. Seeing this cup and handle and seeing this reaccumulation, it was already a done deal for me, and I understood that I also need to be involved in this kind of trade. So since then, after we had the reaccumulation and above, I would say 0.98 or 1, we have been printing these higher highs and higher lows, higher highs and higher lows. And now we are attacking 1.6 area. I think this is significant, actually above between 1.5 and 1.6. I think this was an important area above which Farcoin had to get above. And from there, most likely we will see 2 if Bitcoin also stays above 110, 105. So all of these pullbacks are fine, even on Bitcoin, but that's another story. Today we are discussing about Farcoin. And this is what we're seeing on Farcoin: higher highs, higher lows. So the mother asset, the mother of farts, let's just call it like that, has been rising, and I think it's going to continue to rise. The more people are seeding, the more people are coping, the more Farcoin most likely is going to rise. Like in other cycles we had, for example, Doge. This cycle we had Pepe, but I think one of the memes that got the most mindshare and is going to continue to capture the most mindshare. Also saw it like on TradFi, right? So people were speaking about it on Bloomberg, CNBC, etc. I think it was Farcoin, and I still think it's going to be Farcoin going forward. So if the base meme or the mother of farts is rising, most likely we will also see some beautiful things for base Farcoin. And for base Farcoin, I'm going to be totally honest with you. And I think the ones who were following me on this topic know that I bought a few. I bought in the beginning of May, so it was most likely a top blast. So my first purchase was around this area. But seeing how beautiful it was retracing, however, it was retracing in a very nice uptrend channel, higher highs and higher lows, still very valid. Although it was hitting a supply area, I continued to DCA almost daily, and I have a very nice position right now. Regardless, the nominal value is not so important. However, it's a nice position in my opinion, and considering the values in my portfolio. So right now, base Farcoin, extremely well performing. Even today, it had again another retest of this supply area. And I think that as soon as Farcoin is going to go and have another runner, most likely the beta asset, right? So base Farcoin, the younger brother of the bigger Farcoin, most likely is also going to print. And we there is a high possibility that we will see this week from the previous all-time high getting filled. This is the last area. So this area for me, it's a big supply area. We can see from the left side of the chart. However, I think that once we're gonna get above this area and we're gonna fill this week, I think we can see some explosive price action. This is basic charting. This is basic trading, just supports, resistances. I will continue to buy Farcoin on base, not the layer one. The other one, I'm going to just trade it, but I'm going to continue to add this at lower prices, higher prices. I just want to be involved in this. And since I'm seeding and I didn't bought, and I haven't bought, on the lower values on this one, I'm going to do my best to, be part of this movement by adding on this and DCAing on higher values, lower values, does not matter. Because watching Donny and watching his analysis, and more than that, his conviction and his big balls, we have to acknowledge that, because he is one of the biggest bulls in the last few months. When we had choppy price action, when we had a lot of doubt, he was pounding the table about this asset. So going forward, I'm also going to add on this. And right now, before we're going to jump to another interesting chart, the third one, I also want to add my own, not my own indicator, but the only indicator that I use from time to time, and that is Ichimoku. I'm not going to go to a very complex analysis. I'm just going to tell you that as long as the price stays above the cloud, or Kumo in Japanese, we are very good, and we are good to go. And I think once we're going to clear this resistance, which is the supply that I spoke about, most likely we're going to have a very nice explosive price action to the upside. Now, before we end this, I just want to show you something that I think I've noticed at Max because Bitcoin, and I think also from Donny. It was an overlap of charts. So Farcoin, the first one, with Farcoin on base. And I noticed something very interesting. I noticed that for some time, Farcoin on base obviously was underperforming. However, all that ended and we printed a very clear bottoming formation, which is called the falling wedge. And since then, as you can see, we had lower highs and lower lows. However, something changed around this area once we broke above the upper downtrend line. And more than that, it continued to go higher. So with all these dynamics, if Farcoin is rising and we see that Farcoin on base is outperforming Farcoin, the main one, most likely the potential moves, because we're talking about probabilities, we're not talking about certainties, the potential moves that we might see on Farcoin on base can be way bigger and in at a higher degree in percentages that we can see at Farcoin. And if you think about it, it also makes sense. It's going to be much easier. It's going to be much harder for Farcoin from here to pull out like a 4 or a 5x, right? So until towards all-time high, and we're already talking about billions in market cap, it's only 70%. But if a Farcoin, the main one, goes and attempts an attack to the previous all-time high and has a rally of about 70%, most likely we can see some 3x, 5x, 4x. I think even higher. I'm a bit more conservative. I have to admit, I didn't bring the full degen out. However, looking at these dynamics, looking how bullish this chart looks, looking how nicely we bottomed in this area. And by the way, I forgot to mention that this was a clear accumulation range, very clear accumulation range, above which we broke out and we continue in these higher highs and higher lows. I think that once we're going to clear this area and this cluster of sellers from here, we can see some very interesting things and a reappreciation to the upside. As long as I said, as Bitcoin plays ball, and as long as Farcoin, the main one, continues in its pursuit to all-time highs. So all in all, this is it. Watch Farcoin on base, especially because this community is going crazy. And if you want to add a little bit more context, also watch what's happening with Farcoin/Farcoin on base. And with that being said, I hope you enjoyed the analysis. Like I promised to the community and also to Donny, this is the analysis. And if you like this type of content, don't forget to like, subscribe, and see you on the next one.